How's it going, you guys, and welcome back to Concentrated Fitness. In today's video, I want to talk about why I believe the 2020 CrossFit Games season should be canceled, not postponed, not held online, just canceled. And the two main things I want to do in this video to get to that point is first kind of talk about some of the things CrossFit's done, poorly over the past few years that I think is definitely going to hinder their progress going forward in making more and more successful CrossFit Games, and what Dave Castro said the other day on his Instagram Live, which is really the bread and butter of this video, which we're going to dissect and really pick apart and see why are they still hosting a CrossFit Games this year. So first, getting into a lot of the big events that have happened in CrossFit over the past few years, and I want to start off with one of the biggest ones that was the most recent, that was a positive effect on CrossFit in the community and just the business as a whole. The most recent beneficial one I can remember is in 2017 when they decided to move the games to Madison, Wisconsin. I live in California. Obviously, I'm biased and I would wish it would still be in California so I could just drive up to go see it, but due to the fact that Carson and just LA area is very popular with concerts and other sporting events and a lot of other shows and conventions and things like that, the CrossFit Games can only be so popular in that area. They're very limited on what they can do. They're very limited space-wise. It's a very, it's a big city. It's not as open as when they moved to Madison, Wisconsin, where they did They did the mountain biking course. They're doing a bunch of cool stuff. They still have the swims with the lake and all that. So that's, a beneficial thing for them because they're able to have more space and more freedom to do things, but also because when they moved to Wisconsin, the whole town was accepting of it. Everyone, all the restaurants, all the stores, the airport had posters everywhere, and it was just a positive impact for CrossFit because now this whole entire city's engulfed with it, and it just brings more spectators to the sport. It brings more people talking about it. It brings more money into CrossFit's pocket, and it's a win-win for them because it's probably also a lot cheaper for a hotel. So if people want to still fly out there, it's more central. So more people that live on the East Coast can come there, and people from California still want to go can go that way. It was just a win-win all around. It made sense. It was a good choice by them. Now we start the downward slope of what I think was poor decisions by them. So the end of the 2018 calendar year, they decided to start firing their media team. Not just a couple people, pretty much a huge portion of them, to my understanding. I believe the vast majority of them, they maybe saved a couple people to kind of still run their social media accounts and things like that, but they fired a lot of people that were doing a lot of the documenting, a lot of people that made the documentaries, a lot of the the Redeemed and Dominant, all of those CrossFit documentaries that we love watching. They fired Mars and Heber, which luckily are just very charismatic and very gifted guys that made a YouTube channel and now are successful on their own. It's a very scary thing that a corporation that was doing good from our outside perspective, we don't know their numbers inside, but from what we could see, they were doing well. The CrossFit Games, was growing every year. The Open was still having hundreds of thousands of people participate, and they had 328,000 people participate in 2018 at $20 a pop. That's a lot of money. I can't do the math right now, but that's a lot of money. It's several $1 million. The fact that they would just go and do that was very concerning. It was very poor. It's a very poor choice, and it put a sour taste in my mouth because why would you go and do that to these guys that have been here since day one, that were obviously loyal, that helped put you guys on the map? If it wasn't for these amazing documentaries and people going and watching them on Netflix, they might not have come to CrossFit. You just go and just drop them like that, not warn them, not say, hey guys, it's June this year. At the end of the year, we're looking at cutting, so possibly save money, look for other opportunities, things like that. Not very nice, not very good business practice, and just I think that was the first big thing that was a negative that CrossFit did. Also, in the 2018 season, they decided to drop regionals and bring on sanctionals. Now, I like the idea of sanctionals. I like there being more opportunities for people to make it to the games and for people to be able to go and watch these kind of regional type events. That made sense to me, and also it's less work on them because now people are hosting these events for them, so the CrossFit's still making money by doing less work. That's a no-brainer. That's a great decision. But the fact that when they did it, they didn't release any rules, any standards. They didn't say only the top 5 out of all the sanctionals get to go to the games. Or, if you placed first at a sanctionals and you only placed this good in the Open, this is where you'd place at the games. It was very vague how they did it, and it was just like people, and we were halfway through the sanctional season before they even decided to start releasing some information. People were just going to these sanctional events and just thinking, okay, I hope I do good here and I hope I place. Why would you do that to people that it's their livelihood to do CrossFit, to do these events, to go and show off their sponsors and wear their gear and drink their supplements and stuff. So that was just a very stupid decision by CrossFit, because it made them look like they didn't know what they were doing, and it also made everyone confused. And it's like, well, why am I going to go and commit to a sport that I don't know what it's going to look like every year? Obviously, constantly varied, keep things exciting, keep things different, but let us know, not constantly confused, keep it constantly varied, and let us know what we need to do to make it to a sanctioned event, to make it to the games. Then in May of 2019, they decided to delete their social media accounts, more specifically the Instagram and the Facebook account. Now, they didn't delete them, they just hid them, so that way, they weren't public accounts anymore. They were kind of archived, so they can bring them back later. When they did that, they just did it. They didn't really announce anything. A couple days later, they said, okay, we did it because we're afraid of Instagram and Facebook's security procedures. But when they did that, a lot of gyms use CrossFit Instagram and CrossFit on Facebook for their content to share with their gyms, their affiliates. They post on their social media accounts, because a lot of people nowadays that own affiliates, there's some younger ones, but a lot of people are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They're not up to date with social media and creating content. They don't know how to make a super cool video of someone doing an overhead squat or progressions for an overhead squat, but Instagram was posting those. So if Instagram's posting those, they could have gone and put that on their social media account. So now people have less content to use, so people are paying an affiliate fee for no content, and there's like, oh, where's the CrossFit name? But if I'm Joe Schmo and I'm like, CrossFit, let me look up CrossFit, and there's no CrossFit on Instagram, there's no CrossFit on Facebook, I don't know what CrossFit is unless I go watch the documentary, and the documentary isn't always a good representation of what you do at a CrossFit gym. Those are the fittest in the world. If I go watch Rich Froning or Matt Frazier lift 300 pounds over their head, and I'm a 120 pound lady, and I see that and I'm like, I don't want to do that. They don't come and do CrossFit. But if they see people posting through CrossFit's Instagram, showing people a 90-year-old lady doing box squats, or they show a morbidly obese person doing thrusters and burning calories, that's just something that's more accepting as a community, to show people, hey, we're all inclusive, anyone can do this. But when there's no content for us to share, then it's just the gym owners trying to do the best they can to take nice photos or capture nice videos of their members who are on a track to better their lives, to lose weight, to gain muscle, to increase their health markers and things like that. So it was just a very poor move. They could have said, in my opinion, what they could have done was they said, hey, we currently have our Instagram and our Facebook accounts inactive. We are still going to be posting content every single day on our website, or through a newsletter, or some other way where that same stuff that was getting presented to all the members can be given to the affiliates and to the community, so we can share it. And it's a beneficial thing for CrossFit, because then it's just still showing our awesome community that we have with CrossFit. That was another poor thing they did, was not giving people any answers. And that just seems to be the theme with CrossFit. They don't tell people what they're gonna do, they just do it. I understand they're busy, they can do whatever they want, but when they have a lot of people paying them a yearly subscription of $3,000, they want some kind of answers. Because what's stopping me from, once I've built a 150, 200 plus member base, to drop the CrossFit name and call it athletics or gym or whatever kind of other strength and conditioning twist you want to put on the gym name? What's stopping me from doing that? If CrossFit's not helping me out, if they're not helping me out, I'm not going to pay them that fee. I'm just going to do it myself and save that $2,000 to then go maybe pay someone to help make me a couple professional videos, or come to my gym and capture really good photos of my members and highlight that to the world. The last really bad decision that CrossFit made was for the 2019 CrossFit Games, when they decided to make those huge cuts and cut it down to 10 people after the end of the second day. I think it was the end of the second day. Let me know in the comments if it was something different. But they went from 150 athletes on the very first event and cut it down to 75. I think that's a huge money grab for them to go and have someone from a country, a really small, tiny country that qualified through the Open, to come to the games. They had to pay for airfare, they had to pay for a hotel, they had to pay the registration fee, they had to pay all these things, and they probably didn't have that many sponsors because they're from a small country that probably don't have that much publicity around them. And they go to the games, they do one event, they get cut. In my opinion, it's like a huge slap to the face. I understand that, hey, you still made it to the games, you still participated, you could still come have a fun weekend at the games, but they didn't tell them that until they got there. the day before the first event is when they announce that, which is like super disrespectful in my opinion, to think that, hey, I'm going to spend a whole 4 days competing against some people that I idolize in front of for my country, literally for my whole country. I'm representing my country. I go there and then I don't finish the first event, or I get time capped, or I just don't place well enough and I get cut. Super dumb decision in my opinion. And even cutting it down to 10 athletes after the second day was also very dumb. I would say if they start with 150 men, 150 women, cut it down to 100 after day 1, 50 after day 2, and then 25 to day 3, then the last day is 10. Like, make it to where people have more of a chance to fight. And also, one thing that CrossFit Games did on their Twitter account is that they said, we've found the top 10 fittest on earth, now time to test strength. And that's when they went and did the clean and jerk, not the clean and jerk ladder, but they did the clean and jerk 1 rep max pretty much event. And that rubbed some people the wrong way, because isn't strength a test of fitness? The first 4 events, like I think the bar was 185 for the guys, 135 for the ladies, maybe 125, and then for the snatches. That's not a true test of strength and power. It's just, how well can you cycle a moderate weight barbell. But then they had a ruck event, they had a sled sprint and bar muscle event. They had so much just aerobic testing workouts, they didn't really test strength. There wasn't really a CrossFit Total like they've had in the past years. There wasn't a ladder earlier on, or some kind of thing that would have kept the bigger athletes in and had them, kind of meet in the middle. It was just so one-sided with all of the aerobic capacity, and now all these guys over here that had a good engine can now test their strength. So, very poor decision with the cuts, and how I love the very first event. The very first event of the games was perfect. I think it was the 3 or 4 rounds of the 350 meter run, 300 meter run, legless rope climbs and snatches. Beautiful event. I love that event so much. I think it was very balanced for what a CrossFit workout is, but the next 3 or 4 were not balanced at all and totally one-sided. I think it was very poor, and that left a lot of sour taste in a lot of athletes' mouth. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people end up not wanting to compete in CrossFit anymore, because they thought, hey, I want to go and prove my fitness to everyone, but now I can't because I'm a bigger dude at 6'2", 230 pounds. Now I need to lose 30 pounds of weight in order to hang with these guys. But if I do that, then I drastically lose my strength. Like, obviously we're in the sport of the fittest. It's not about how strong you are, how fast you are. It's about how you can meet in the middle. But it needs to be some kind of way to get to that point, and not just do this and then, okay, now we're gonna test our strength. That's my take on that. All right, now that all of that has been said, we're gonna talk about what Dave Castro talked about in his Instagram live video. I will have it linked down below so you can go and check it out with me if you wanna read along. But there's 6 key points we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna dissect them and kind of get to the conclusion of why I believe the CrossFit Games should be canceled for this year. So the very first point that we're gonna talk about is that he says they're still aiming for an August Games. So as I'm recording this video, it is May 4th right now. So what is that? It's May, June, July. So they have a little over 3 months in order to start getting things done and start hopefully having athletes there and competing. Where I'm at in SoCal, they just recently stated or made a mandate that if you are outside and within any one of 6 feet that's not a part of your household, you have to wear a mask. There's no option. It's not you choose to. You have to wear a mask if you're outside within someone that's within 6 feet of you that is not pretty much a family member or someone like you live with every single day. So that was just stated, even though we've been in quarantine since the middle of March. We're now a month and a half in, and now they decided to up the protocol of keeping everyone clean and sanitary. So that's the first thing. I don't know how much clearness is going to be in August. For the fact of them to say it's going to happen in August, I think it's very ballsy, and I don't think it'll be clear enough in August for them to have hundreds of athletes at this Aromas ranch. But who knows? Maybe they're just hoping for the best. One thing that Jacob Heppner said in an interview with Morning Chalk Up, which I'll also have linked down below, is he said he thinks CrossFit is still pulling in sponsors, saying, hey guys, we're still gonna have it. Do you wanna come sponsor, they're still gonna have some kind of broadcasting of the show. Do you wanna put ads in it? Do you want us to have your products there for the athletes to drink in between events or eat, whatever it is? And then they might be they're going to wait until the last minutes where the state of California says you cannot host this event literally under any circumstance, you must cancel it. And they're going to go and bank all of that and say, oh well, sorry guys, we got canceled, but we're going to hold all of this money or whatever it is. I don't know how that would stand up, but that's one thing Jacob Hepner said, and I mean, who knows if that could be even a possibility. Second thing, game staff evaluated many options for including age groups. So even though they evaluated it, there will not be any teens competing this year. There will not be any master athletes competing this year. And that must be incredibly heartbreaking for the teens and the masters that qualified this year, maybe for their first time, to know that it's not gonna happen. But they're still gonna have the 18 to 34-year-olds competing. Must be a sour taste in their mouth, and I can't imagine how they must be feeling right now. Number 3, teams are probably out. He didn't say anything specifically addressing the teams and saying that no, we're not having teams, but he did say we are trying to make the best out of the situation and put on an event for the community. So, sounds like no teams to me. Number 4, there will most likely be cuts to the individual field to keep numbers low. Okay, that's what they did last year. Hopefully they do a better job with cuts and don't do crazy cuts right off the bat. Number 5, which is a very, very controversial one, I feel like with a lot of the athletes that did the morning chalk-up interview stated and were very sour about, is number 5. Even though foreign athletes can't make the trip, 2020 winners will still be called the fittest on earth. There is no way you can call them the fittest on earth if there are some people that even qualified through a sanctional event, because there were some sanctional events that still happened at the end of 2019 to make them eligible for the 2020 season that might live in a foreign country that aren't able to fly out to where you're at. Some countries saying there is zero flying in and out of the country. If that's the case, if I qualify through a sanctional event but I live in Australia, like Cara Saunders, they can't make it. So if Cara Saunders is the fittest she's ever been, and she could have a possibility of podiuming or taking first place, then there's no way that you can go and say these are the fittest people on earth if not everyone from Earth has been tested to see if they can make it to the games. And then lastly, nothing from 2020 will roll over to 2021. At least for the age group divisions, Castro said nothing is rolling over. We are not rolling things over. It's not going to be clean. Next season is going to be a new season. So going back to if you are someone that qualified as a teen or as an age group, or if you're someone that just qualified at a sanctional event but you aren't able to fly to California, then you're SOL. I understand that, but I think that should be the case for everyone. 2020 season should be canceled. You can't have everyone show up, so they can't be called the fittest on earth. Not everyone can show off their fitness right now because they might be really fit, but they don't have access to a gym with rings, with a bar, with a lot of the equipment they need if they were to host an online competition. So it's putting people at risk, which shouldn't even be a thing in my opinion. If you are going to cancel the Olympics, if you're going to cancel every single sporting event, if you're going to cancel all this stuff, why have these athletes go and try to see who is the fittest on earth if only half the people that actually are the fittest on earth are going to even be there? So I don't think they should have the CrossFit Games happen at all. I don't think they should have it online. I think it should be totally scrapped so that way it's even for everybody. If you did or didn't qualify, if you did or didn't have the opportunity to qualify, this year is just a scrap. Don't have 50 people show up and have those people fight for the fittest on earth if those 50 people aren't the whole pool of what we could bring to the CrossFit Games. If there's not gonna be spectators, not gonna be vendor village, not gonna be all these things, what's the point of even having it? It's just a waste. I think the only thing that they are holding on to is the fact that this is kind of something to kind of give people some happiness in this time of sadness and frustration and confusion. And I also think it might be a possibility for them to be a money grab. There's 0 sporting events going on right now. If they have this, if it's only 50 guys and 50 girls competing, but it's a cool little mini CrossFit Games, they might have people all around the world looking at this like this is the Olympics, or this is like the Super Bowl of fitness. So I'm not quite sure why they're still doing this. I think it needs to be stopped. I think they're wasting their time. I think it's giving people hope for no reason. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. This video was kind of long. A lot of things I want to talk about. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Let me know you want more videos, me talking about just different CrossFit news. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.